Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Tuesday, April the 14th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local market is set to rally at the open with ASX futures up 1 1/3%. Investor sentiment has been buoyed by the prospects of US-Iran talks resuming. While European equity markets finished mostly in the red, on Wall Street the S&P 500 and Nasdaq rallied after President Trump said that Iran wants to make a deal, even as the US military began a blockade of ships leaving Iran's ports. By Monday's close, the S&P 500 had erased all its losses since the war began, rebounding close to 8% over that time. Well, tech again led the gains with the software index up around 5.5%, its biggest one-day gain since April last year. AI cloud firm Oracle surging, while Microsoft also gained, along with cloud software provider Salesforce, ServiceNow, and mobile ad tech firm AppLovin. SanDisk jumped after the memory chip maker was set to join the Nasdaq 100 index next week. It was a less than impressive start to first quarter earnings season, with Goldman Sachs shares falling on concerns over weakness in fixed income, currencies and commodities trading revenue, outweighing its profit beat. Shares in Albemarle, the world's largest lithium producer, rallied after Oppenheimer raised its price target on the company. And US-listed shares of Telix Pharmaceuticals jumped after revealing it will jointly develop cancer treatments with drug maker Regeneron in a deal valued up to $2.1 billion. Well, the US military has begun a blockade of ships leaving Iran's ports, while Iran has threatened to retaliate against its Gulf neighbours' ports. President Trump has said that Iran wants to make a deal and that he will not come to any agreement that allows it to have a nuclear weapon. He said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world. Well, the war in the Middle East will dominate global finance official talks this week in Washington, but World Bank President Ajay Banga has warned of another developing crisis, the huge gap in jobs for the 1.2 billion people who will reach working age in developing countries in the next 10 to 15 years. He said it's estimated those economies will generate only about 400 million jobs, leaving a deficit of 800 million jobs. Well, in choppy trading on the Treasuries market, the US 2-year yield was at 3.78%, the 10-year fell to 4.29%. Australian 3-year government bond yields fell to 4.67%, while the 10-year was at 5%. The US dollar index is down slightly on the day, the Aussie currently trading at 71 US cents. Well, oil prices climbed about 4% after the US military began a blockade of ships leaving Iran's ports, and more countries have announced emergency support measures to combat rising energy costs, while OPEC has lowered its forecast for world oil demand in the second quarter by 500,000 barrels a day. The head of the International Energy Agency has said member countries are ready to release more barrels from reserves, though it hoped it would not be necessary. However, Brent futures settled lower at around $98 a barrel. Gold slipped, pressured by a stronger US dollar and renewed inflation concerns. Spot gold currently at around $4,740 an ounce. Copper rose more than 2%, iron ore up 1% to $108 a ton, and Bitcoin has risen above $74,000. Ahead today, we get NAB's business conditions data and Westpac's consumer confidence report. That is today ahead. We'll see you again tomorrow.